Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that can feel a little overwhelming.
Governing at the speed of disruption.
Exactly. We're getting into the Axumwe Sentient Rhizomatic Design Framework. We want to, cut through some of that jargon and really show you how it changes strategic thinking.
And I think the place to start is with Axumwe's core diagnosis of, well, the problem itself.
Right. What's their hypothesis?
It's this idea that we're in a state of permanent catch-up, that today's problems are mutating so fast that our systems are just, well, paralyzed.
Okay, so this state of paralysis, let's unpack that. The source talks about crossing a structural threshold.
Compound acceleration.
Yeah, that's the term.
Yeah.
It means these shocks, economic, climate, digital narrative warfare, they're not sequential anymore. It's not one domino falling after another.
No, they're all falling at once. It's a cascade. And our institutions, which were really designed for, slow incremental progress, they just can't keep up. They can't even perceive the speed.
So it's not a failure of intelligence. It's not that the people aren't smart enough.
Not at all. The source calls it a fundamental temporal misalignment. Look at the energy shock from 2022 to 2024. The policy responses were, they were good.
But they were months late.
Exactly. They lagged behind public sentiment, behind the actual economic pain. It's like trying to navigate a fighter jet with a roadmap from the 1980s. The tool is just wrong for the environment.
So Axumwe's solution is what? To rethink institutions entirely, make them sentient systems.
That's the core idea. Adaptive, decentralized, capable of learning in real time, moving from just reacting to being genuinely anticipatory. They call it transitioning to the sentient age.
But practically speaking, how is this different from just having a really good risk management team?
Because it treats strategy as a time architecture problem.
Yeah.
The goal isn't just to spot risk, it's to shorten the distance between a signal emerging, someone interpreting it, and then taking action.
And that's where the toolkit comes in, the 15 Ts.
The disruption signal mapping toolchain, yeah.
So let's get into those. If the goal is to just see things differently, to see them faster, what's first? Let's talk about T1, the category grid.
T1 is basically permission. It's permission to detect. It forces an organization to formally declare what it has to see, across all key domains.
Economic, political, technological.
Right. And narrative. It makes a legacy institution admit that digital narrative warfare is now a required category they have to monitor, even if it feels totally alien to their core business.
And that connects to T2, right? The data source register. It's about not being blind.
Exactly. T2 fights that over-reliance on the usual formal data. It demands you diversify where you look. So instead of just central bank forecasts, you're now required to look at, say, local media or even satellite imagery, things institutions usually ignore.
Okay, and what about T4, the daily signal log? Why is the sequence of events so important to track?
Because it tracks acceleration. You can see not just what happened, but how fast it was all speeding up. That gives you an auditable memory of the crisis as it formed, which is key for anticipation.
This all sounds incredibly complex to manage, though. Isn't there a danger this just adds another layer of bureaucracy and slows things down even more?
And that's a real risk, which is why the measurement Ts are so important. T9, for example, the signal-to-response time index.
So a stopwatch on your own bureaucracy?
Pretty much. It quantifies your decision lag. And often it shows the problem isn't external complexity, it's your own internal processes that are the bottleneck.
And T10, the blind spot reduction rate, that ensures you're actually learning and not just, going through the motions.
It measures if your sensing coverage is really expanding over time. So the value proposition from Axumwe is really two things.
Right. They're selling temporal sovereignty, a time advantage, and cognitive sovereignty. Basically an institutional nervous system that's fast enough for this new environment.
And that capability is, it's critical for any organization now. Public institutions, corporations, nonprofits. It's about maintaining trust when linear planning just doesn't work anymore.
So at the end of the day, what's the takeaway here for you? The unsentimental reality is that the coming decade is going to reward organizations that are sentient, not just resilient.
And there's that great quote from the source material.
Yeah. Decisions fail not because leaders lack intelligence, but because intelligence arrives too late.
Which I think is the perfect place to leave it.
It really is. So the question for you is, what stood out in this deep dive? And, how can you maybe adopt a more rhizomatic approach to decision-making in your own work?